One Piece is a very historic series, and a lot of people don't know this, and a lot of people miss out on things because they don't know how great of a series this is. Like, you notice a lot of trends, like Dressrosa was a Monkey D Luffy Law arc. Whole Cake Island was a Luffy Sanji arc with a little mixed in Jinbei there. And Wano was a Luffy, obviously, Zoro arc. You just notice these things when you follow the series known as One Piece. But I do want to say this. You know the trend. Luffy always has an arc with someone else in it. And you guys see the title. Obviously, I'm talking about Usopp. I think Luffy is bound to have another arc where Usopp is a lead. And I feel like Enies Lobby in Water 7 was kind of like Usopp, Luffy's arc pre-time skip. But I feel like post-time skip, they need an arc like that. And the arc that I'm thinking about, everyone knows, it's Elbaf. Now, I do want to say this. Everyone knows during the all-long arc, Luffy had to save Nami, and he had his crew with him. And you guys saw that epic walk. Sanji and Zoro were there, but there was also another character there, and that's Usopp. A lot of people don't know how important Usopp is as a character, and the fact that he was able to awaken Observation Haki in the arc of Dressrosa, and he had that moment of him being looked at as a god. We all know recently the sun god Nika that everyone's calling Luffy. It's so many connections there to Usopp being a greater importance than he actually is. And Wano, he didn't really have that huge spotlight that I wish he had, because I'm an Usopp fan. I don't know what it is, but I just enjoy the character Usopp. But I feel like that's because Elbaf, Usopp's gonna get a lot of shine. Like, I think Oda's gonna give Usopp the most shine that he's ever got in his entire life in the One Piece story. Now, I do want to say this. I love how Luffy has these unique abilities, and even Kaido's commenting on how he has unique abilities, able to change everything around him into rubber. He was even able to turn himself to an actual giant in chapter 1045. I'm just thinking, Luffy doing all these amazing things with Gear 5th, he's about to pull out something even crazier in the Elbaf arc after Wano. We all know Elbaf's after Wano. That's like a guarantee. I think there's a chance that he may be able to even turn Usopp into a giant, because we all know, a lot of people don't understand how big the giant thing is for Luffy and Usopp is. That's one of their main connections they have, is that whole giant aspect, and I want to talk about it more in this actual video. But before I continue, make sure you guys don't forget to hit that like button, smash that like button, guys. 1,000 likes and I've dropped one of my biggest videos I've ever dropped on this channel. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 100k subscribers. It means a lot to me, guys. I love the support I've been getting. And of course, turn on notifications. I don't want you guys to miss uploads in the future. So that's a major thing. The most important thing, I'll be honest with you, is turning on notifications. That's how you don't miss uploads, guys. Now, a lot of people like when I look back in the story, and they kind of say like LegendMac's channel is a channel where it used to be power scaling, but now it's a channel where he just looks back at old chapters and tries to connect it to the future of the One Piece story. And that's what I love to do, honestly, because One Piece is such a long series that you can look back at any chapter and find a connection. And chapter 96 is the first ever chapter that we see a giant. That's John the Giant, and he speaks on the stronghold of Liberty. The irony and the funny thing is that he was actually sold by Mother Caramel. We learned this in Whole Cake Island, to the world government. So Liberty, he never even had Liberty to begin with. So it's a very, very ironic thing, and that's what the world government is. It's like they think they're justice, but are they truly justice? That's the question that we have in the One Piece story. Now, I do want to say this. We also have Shanks in this chapter, who's celebrating Luffy's arrival. Nearly 1,000 chapters later, Shanks, we find out he stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi, the fruit of warrior liberation, the mythical Zoan Nika fruit from the world government, and he goes to the Gorosei talking about a certain pirate. Now the Gorosei want to eliminate Luffy. Like, there's so many funny connections there that we see 1,000 chapters back. Of course, we all know in the situation, Luffy's giant pistol, like, let's be honest here, his whole form is where he might grab that sword. He has a giant form right now. We always knew he had a giant pistol, but now he has a giant form. He might grab that huge sword, put on that huge straw hat in Amerijawa, and do some crazy stuff. That's a lot of people are saying that this could be Joy Boy's hat, who had the same Dull Fruit ability as Luffy. So many connections now, but at the end of the day, Elbaf hype is real. After Wano, I see it as a situation where Skypiea, Fishman Island arc, where it gets a lot of historic value, and I think it's going to be even better after our second read. Like Skypiea and Fishman Island are better after second reads than the initial reads. I think Elbaf is going to be one of the greatest arcs after its second read, guys. Now, the actual chapters where we truly see the connections to the current story are chapter 116 and 117. In chapter 116, we actually see our first ever giant, officially giant, guys. We see our first ever giant, and he's cutting a dinosaur. Guys, Bragi and Dory are both cutting dinosaurs. Isn't that crazy, guys, how they're both cutting dinosaurs, and we see Kaido has that dinosaur fruit pretty much that's connected to the dragon. His whole crew's full of dinosaurs. Like, Luffy right now is going up against pretty much a mythical zone that comes from the origins of the dinosaurs. So definitely want to say the hype is real when it comes to that. I do also want to say this. Dory's like, yo, Luffy, you're a very lively human. And Luffy replies, are you human? And it's crazy because Luffy now is the heat to human fruit fruit that's able to turn him into an actual giant. We finally found out Luffy's true dog fruit. And the way they're talking to each other like they're old friends, I found that very funny, because we know the Giants and Joy Boy obviously have some major connection, guys. But I do want to say this. It talks about the god of Elbaf. He says the god of Elbaf. And now we know that we're going to that territory. People talking about God, sun god, all that stuff. We're going into that territory in the One Piece story when it comes to people being known as that. And like I definitely want to say this, as a Delphi user, as Luffy as a Delphi user and his connection to Joy Boy, let's be honest here. Like, I'll be honest with you, I think there's some crazy stuff happening in Elbaf, and it might be so powerful that we're going to be caught off guard. Now, I do want to say this. Later, Luffy told Vivi, shut the hell up, when Vivi's like, why are you fighting this battle of honor? And pretty much said, it doesn't matter because it's a battle of honor. Luffy says that. And then, of course, Luffy faints in just shock and awe. And I thought that was very interesting, how Luffy faints in seeing the two giants fight for the battle of honor. It's like Luffy was showing early signs of him being connected to Joy Boy right in that chapter. Now, the next chapter, chapter 117, is kind of like, how to say this, a parallel, because now it's focused on Usopp. And Usopp says they're fighting a glorious battle of true warriors. I get the connection of warrior of liberation. And a brave warrior of the sea is Usopp's actual goal. We even see with the recent chapter, the Sea of Liberation, guys. So the hype is real there. I definitely want to say the fact that he says, I want to be just like you guys. And they're like, yo, so you want to be a giant? Nami's like, so you want to be a giant? And even Brocky said it. So that was pretty funny. But definitely want to say, the fact that they both said, so you want to be a giant, I think this is connecting to Luffy turning Usopp into a giant. I don't know what it is. And going to Elbaf, the hype is real. The chapter ends with Dory being poisoned and pretty much Honor's mentioned. And now we saw in the interruption of Kaido versus Luffy, we see that how Honor was taken advantage of because CP0 interfered, and the old lady interfered in the Odin fight. And Kaido does not like that, because Kaido actually honors battles in that way, but he still take the defeat, but he honors it. Like, he doesn't like when people interfere. So definitely want to say it shows that the world government had no honor in that situation, and definitely want to say that Luffy was fainting because of the battle of honor. A lot of stuff to be said. Now, here's where I really get into the nitty-gritty of this Luffy turning Usopp into a giant and the new Elbaf scene in this video. I do want to say this. Enies lobby, Usopp gets these giants on his side, and then he helps Luffy get back up to fight Rob Lucci. Rob Lucci, in this fight, Luffy's able to use Giant Pistol for the first time, Gear 3rd. And I definitely want to say this is kind of introducing how important the lore of giants are. I feel like Enies lobby really started it off, and seeing that Enies lobby was Usopp and Luffy's arc makes a lot of sense, guys. Now, also, Luffy and Whitebeard during Marineford War, the way that they were looked at as hype characters is when Whitebeard took out John the Giant. Whitebeard took out that giant and took his, gave him a quake to the face. Luffy with his giant pistol took out a giant himself. The giant squad, which was looking so epic, Whitebeard and Luffy took them out, and that was just showing how hype their greatness was, and showing how respected giants are. Like, I'll be honest with you, the giant squad also are not even there by their own choice. They're probably all sold by someone who went to Elbaf and sold them. So definitely want to say the craziness of this is intense. Then there's also Buggy. Buggy lost his warlord position and his giant crew to Monkey D Luffy, who truly deserves the giant crew because he actually shows them the utmost respect, guys. Like, seeing Luffy and how Usopp's part of his crew and Hajirudin and Dressrosa and all that, everything, it makes a lot of sense why Luffy has a giant squad. But I think that's pretty much alluding to Buggy meeting up with Luffy on Elbaf, and maybe Shanks even being there too, and maybe even having the Grand Fleet there, and that whole conflict of interest. Definitely want to say Buggy's giant connection there. It's screaming Elbaf. Buggy Elbaf, Luffy Elbaf, Usopp Elbaf, Shanks Elbaf, Yasopp Elbaf. I just think Elbaf's going to be legendary. We can't forget about Big Mom. Big Mom has beef with the Giants, and that's because Lola did not marry the prince who was in love with Lola. And then, of course, she tried to lie and give chiffon, and that did not work out. So Big Mom has beef with the Giants, the Elbaf, Mighty Warriors. She's always had beef with them when it comes to her early age, destroying that whole village in Elbaf. So Big Mom has always had beef at the age of 5. Like, she just shows how monstrous powerful she is. But she literally thinks that if she gets the Giants on her side, that's going to tip the scale. So I definitely want to say Big Mom, even her, the Yonko, the top. I think Big Mom's top 5 strongest in the One Piece story. She believes that pretty much Elbaf is that legendary, guys. And we can't forget about Saul D Jaguar, Jaguar D Saul, whatever you want to call him, to be honest. He is a Willa D at the end of the day. Robin's pretty much Nakama. And the biggest hint to giant ties with, of course, the Void Sentry, and of course having ties to the Willa D and whatnot. And there's also moments of why I believe that, like Skypiea, Mary Jawad, Fishman Island, Dressrosa, Wano, Elbaf is definitely strong ties to the Void Sentry, and Saul D Jaguar, Jaguar D Saul, whatever you want to call him. I know I gotta stop saying that, but there's definitely a connection there. All in all, I think Elbaf is gonna be the most hype arc in One Piece. I actually believe it. I believe Luffy will return the Straw Hat to Shanks in this arc, and I think Usopp will finally meet his father, who left to be a warrior of the seas. And this is going to be an epic moment, but I think they both will fall to the Blackbeard pirates near this time, maybe even around Elbaf. We know San Juan Wolf, the biggest creature, the biggest human, pretty much creature, like largest, is going to probably be involved too when it comes to the giants. Like giants going up against that, like something that huge, the battle, that's going to be intense, guys. San Juan Wolf, like a battleship San Juan Wolf. So the significance is there. Now, Luffy awakening, or maybe something scientifically, but I think Luffy awakening will, I think, personally lead Usopp to actually becoming a giant and being looked at as a GOAT character. We all know Monster Point, but Usopp's going to be even bigger than Monster Point. It's going to be crazy, guys. I definitely think in a short span, Elbaf is actually near the end of the actual One Piece story. And I think that after seeing One Piece chapter 1045, Usopp will be turned by a giant, by Luffy, and it'll be not a long period of time, but Usopp will also have the rubber no mi. So Usopp will finally be, Luffy's been known right now as top 5 in the story, and Usopp has always been the weakest in the crew. For once, Usopp will be the strongest in the entire crew with Luffy. That's gonna be crazy, guys. That's my thoughts. Love reading you guys' comments, but I want to see your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Like and share if you enjoy. Like and share only if you enjoy. Subscribe for One Piece content. I'm the Legend Mac, and I'm gone.